Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting. Today is Thursday, November 6th, 2025. The time is 6:01 p.m. We're meeting both in person and virtually. I'd like to welcome everybody. Let's start with a roll call for Planning and Zoning Commissioners. This is Amanda Podmore, Chair.
Marcia Haydenfeld.
Brian Whitney.
Malia Collins.
Gary Haas.
Thank you and welcome Town Manager and members of the public and applicants. Thank you. Okay, we have a extended agenda tonight, so we're planning on going potentially up to 7:30 tonight. So we'll start with opportunity for public comment, approval of meeting minutes, old business, which mostly includes going over some thoughts about recent public hearings. New business includes interview of applicants and then other. So the agenda look good to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I did notice today that we forgot to put renewable energy ordinance on here. If we decide that we want to go
Oh,
another
dear.
30 minutes until 8, we could talk about it or put it on next meeting.
Or put it on other, so we'll know where we stand with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll discuss it under other
Yeah.
steps. Okay. I'd like to first open up a opportunity for public comment. If anybody would like to make a public comment, please verbally say so or raise your hand in the chat and you can left 3 minutes for public comment. Okay, I will go ahead and close public comment. Thank you. We'll start with approval of next of meeting minutes from our October 2nd regular meeting.
I don't have those pulled up immediately. Can we start with? Oh my gosh.
I can share.
Let's see which ones. Okay, perfect. Thanks. I have the 16th up.
Not that. Okay, do any, I'll just scroll down if any
Scroll down.
commissioners have comments from these meeting minutes.
Our note taker does a fabulous.
So Gary edited the sign permit application to read.
No,
Somebody
I
edited
did
it
it.
out to match
The
the
sign-
port signs. But what he said was the color of the building, still a rock color.
He said it that way because if you go to the fort, there is that building rock stuff. Oh, that's building rock without a sign on it.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's not existing
so it should still remain the color for the.
concrete to match the existing building at the fort.
Okay. So
Okay.
that
Yeah,
comment,
that was my understanding.
Gotcha.
Should remain
No, you're right.
unchanged.
Now that when you said that, I was like, isn't that a sign? No, it's the rest of the building. Okay, good. Never mind.
Okay, thanks to clarify that, and then
Oh, yeah. What was this?
the dimension of the sign, 3 feet. Oh, 3 foot 6 inches. Thanks,
Instead, it's 36 inches.
Yeah.
There's 36 feet by 8 feet.
36 feet does exceed our sign. So we'll go ahead and correct that.
Maybe write it out because the word feet is written next to the 8 as well. FT and IN perhaps or something. Oh, or take it off.
There you go.
Yeah, either way.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Then
Can I?
the grammatical change under item 2. Any other changes or comments from these meeting minutes?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes as edited.
Second,
Any discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Minutes are approved from, let's go on to the October 16th work session.
All right, I can share those. I have those. I think so. I hope so. Oh, no. Oh, no. 2025 draft minutes. That's October 28th. Oh, wait, no, it's right here. Can you guys see it?
yeah.
Brian, can you see it on your screen?
I got it, yep.
Yes. Technology. Okay,
It's
scrolling through, wonderful. Don't see any.
Any other comments or additions to those?
I make a motion to approve the minutes for October 16th as presented.
A second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
I,
Okay, motion passed unanimously, minutes are approved. Now we'll go to the joint public hearing on October 28th. Thank you for sharing those.
Mhm.
These have gone through town council this past week.
Yeah, pretty easy, but
Let me know when you want me to
Oh,
scroll.
yeah, keep scrolling
need
just till
to
we see.
scroll.
While we're scrolling, just a big thank you for writing the minutes. They're really helpful for that public hearing.
Yeah, this was amazing.
Any comments on those minutes?
Nope.
I make a motion. Oh, go ahead, Brian. Go,
I was gonna
Brian.
make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes are approved. Thanks, everybody. Right, back to our agenda. So, under old business, item 1, update from town council, town manager Nelson, would you like to share that?
Alrighty, so the town council had one meeting, since you all met last in your joint meeting. The main item to note is that, Luann Hook is no longer serving on council and Spencer Wade was sworn in. So all future communications, if you're referencing the council, please remove Luann and go ahead and add Spencer. So congratulations to Spencer. We're very happy to have him for the interim remainder of the term until the rest of the council members join on January 6th. There was also detailed discussion regarding ADA compliance. So there is quite a lot going on in terms of accessibility. Millie and I have both taken a training through the National League of Cities, and essentially any record that we present virtually need, like on a website, via email, etc., needs to be ADA compliant. So there were a lot of items that we learned, and because we have a wealth of documents available from previous years. Luckily, we only go back to 2018. However, other municipalities are not so lucky. But everything that we have that is something that we would like electronically share with the public needs to be accessible. So what that means is we are looking at fonts, we're looking at headings, we're looking at like ease of searchability. And so Malia and I are probably going to do is put together kind of like some templates and guidelines as to what needs to be done. And then there's probably going to be a pretty big overhaul as to what's on our website and things like that. We are beginning to, be cognizant in our meeting minutes as to, how can we get things into compliance. So we don't have to like go back from today, we only have to go back from today. We don't have to, start fresh. Municipalities under 50,000 people have until April of 2027 to get into compliance. But this is a pretty hot topic for litigation. So it's really important that we're able to provide accessible documents. And we are focused primarily in this area. Now, clearly, when we do renovations to buildings and stuff, of course, we need to be in compliance. But this particular item that we're discussing is kind of in the virtual realm and documents that we're sharing with the public electronically. Marsha.
Just for clarification, are ADA compliant documents visible ADA in terms of sight or hearing or both?
Both. So when people use screen readers, they need to be able to utilize the screen reader that can easily go through the document, which is why scanned documents do not work. So if a document has been scanned in, which if you all are familiar with our website at all, you know that there are quite a lot of those. Quite a lot of those. So that's gonna be one of the first areas that we'll be able to, work on. But yes, so someone should be able to use a screen reader and go through, and that's why headings are really important. But we also need to go through every single image, or if there's a document that like we cannot find the original, we would have to go through and say, this is what this image is, it's a scanned in image. Talking charts, any kind of visually accessible thing needs to be able to be read or heard through description. So there is, luckily we don't have a ton in terms of images. But things like the general plan, strategic plan, active transportation plan, council and ourselves were talking about, potentially hiring a third party to do those, because those are quite lengthy, whereas a lot of the day-to-day documents, either we can look at, an hourly clerical type role, maybe an internship, or, just as we piecemeal and find. Municipalities larger than 50,000 do have until April 2026. So luckily we can probably learn from some of their, utilize their learning curve to get into compliance. But that's a big one. So as you guys think about your ordinances, as you think about like those tables you're putting together, it would really be helpful to ensure that you're thinking about like, what is that alternative text description of what this is conveying? Or is there another way to convey this such that anyone can understand it, whether they're visually impaired or not? And so, it's not a problem to have tables, it's not a problem to have matrices and things like that, but we just need to ensure that it is something that we're going to be able to convey in an alternative way. I think we have a lot of opportunity, like with flow charts and things like that. I've been wanting to put together an organizational chart, and it's like, okay, well, let me rethink that and what's the best way to convey that information. So, but lots to come on that, and I do think that we can probably put together some policies and procedures that'll help folks get into compliance. We also need to appoint an ADA compliance officer. Probably one of us. So that person will be able to, that individual will be able to provide guidance as well. So I think that was the big stuff that would be pertaining to you all. Clearly joint ordinance or joint public hearing stuff. The town didn't discuss anything super in depth, although we do have a game plan. It sounds, a lot of it is coming back to you all, which is why we're here tonight. So any other questions? All right, thank you.
And just to, as we're wrapping up item 1, a big thank you to Luann, who has been at almost every single planning and zoning meeting, sharing out for the town council. So she deserves some nice.
She liaised beautifully.
All right, well, item 2, update from the building department. We have a written email update. I'll just go ahead and read for the record. So our permit technician, Kristen Bushnell, was not able to come tonight. But here are the updates. Number 1, the Bluff Fort is working on getting us their engineered drawings and have been cooperative in moving their project forward. I don't know what project.
Okay.
It's a residence across the street from it's a Jen's house. It's like the Jen's Nielsen's house.
Oh.
Across the street from the Cooperative Cultural Center. It's like an
They're
apartment.
raising a roof.
Yeah.
Just raised the ceiling up because it was only 3 feet. But the
Okay.
poor people to try to get in and out of bed.
Great, okay, so they're raising. Okay, so that's the Jens Nielsen building, wonderful. Item 2, Bluff Dwellings has been approved for a solar permit, but the payment is pending, so it's not active yet. Number 3, JCM Construction has put in a residential application for 17 West Cobble Lane and is under review.
Which, note on that, that's actually 3rd West, which
Oh,
is the
thank
road
you.
of the new elementary school.
Thank you. Okay, yeah. And number 4, the planning department or building department are still working on red lines for the ordinances. There's a lot of strings attached and we're trying to get things figured out for recommendations to planning and zoning and the town council. So any questions for Kristen, we could direct her via email.
No, I appreciate her taking the time to bring us up to date.
Great,
Thank you.
thanks.
Ready. Okay, item number 3, update and discussion of the land use ordinance that was presented at the public hearing. Aaron, would you like to speak on that? I think that one is. Sure.
Okay. So, as per some of our previous conversations and your previous conversations, the land use clearance ordinance was put into effect because there was not a sign off that said, yes, the building permit, building, whatever is adhering to town zoning regulations before it went to San Juan County for an actual building permit. So because of that, the building department and myself are recommending that we either completely eliminate the land use clearance ordinance as it is currently written or make some very serious modifications. We did not receive any public hearing feedback on this one. But I did want to note that removal of this ordinance would alleviate additional fees charged to property owners, as well as alleviate additional processing time for you all, for staff, for everything, because every single question that you all are asking on a land use clearance application is also being asked by the building department. So there is a little bit of fuzzy tension with the building department, because typically they would not go out and like look at our zoning code compared to what's on the application, but because it is just such a small element, it really shouldn't be an issue. I do think this comes down to a lot of administrative work and ensuring that like the staff is understanding what the building department is working on, and anything that's like kind of funky or we have questions about, we're able to ask questions, know what's going on. We do have routine updates and meetings together to make sure that nothing is being missed. But really the dissolution of this land use clearance ordinance would certainly help ourselves as well as the public. So unless you all felt very, very, very strongly that that particular application needed to remain in place, then it is probably the recommendation of the council to get rid of it. Now, the land use clearance application process and everything is referenced multiple times in other ordinances. So the zoning code, as well as a couple other places. So we would want to ensure that we're cleaning up all of those as well. But the first step is probably to go ahead and get rid of that ordinance, not charge any of the fees associated with it, and then move forward with the regular building permit process that we have in place effective April 1st, 2025.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's been a part of discussion ever since the building department came to life. We're like, why do we still have this?
Yeah.
Do we need a motion or anything for us to send that to council for us to agree that it should be dissolved?
Well, I was wondering that we didn't put it to vote on the today's
Oh.
agenda, so we'd have to wait till December. But it wasn't drafted by us. I'm not sure if it's.
So I'll double check. So unfortunately, all of these are still with legal counsel and review. I have heard nothing back, and this is one that, yes, we would want the legal, yes, this makes sense, get rid of it. Now, I don't know, since you guys are the approving body, if you need to vote on it or not. But given that it was passed along to town council to vote into law, my guess is they could go ahead and dissolve it if needed. If that was to change and you need it on your first December meeting, that would be great. I think it might make sense in the meantime, though, to just say, folks are not necessarily needing to follow that process. I would advise, similar to what we heard from the building department, with the building over on Third, that that process is just kind of moving forward with the building department right now.
And you said it will take full effect April 1st.
Sorry, no, so since the building department was put into effect April 1st.
Oh,
2025.
behind us.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
yes. Sorry, I heard April 1st.
No, my
I
hope
was
is,
fooled.
no, my hope is that as soon as we have feedback from legal, then we can just have the council vote to dissolve it. In the meantime, we're kind of working with people on a case-by-case basis. If they're already starting the building permit process, then they're already in the system, so.
And we have on our to-do list in likely January to update the flow chart for the public to understand that LUC is no longer required. And we also have, like, the master fee schedule would change probably in January.
Which is also town council,
yeah.
isn't that, Sophie? Yeah.
But any of those other ones, like sign permits and stuff like that, definitely send my way so we can get it drafted. Cause yeah, master fee schedule, the annual or we'll probably do an amended budget. All of that is kind of coming down the pipeline. So anything that you think might be relevant or no longer relevant, let me know, and then we can make those proposals.
Do you need any action from us tonight? Okay, cool.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
I don't think we need the budget anymore. Okay, item 4, update and discussion on the RV ordinance as presented at the public hearing. So, we can go ahead and share that. I thought we could, make a game plan tonight for how we want to review comments that come in and how we want to work on this. The timeline for this ordinance, much like other ordinances, is that planning and zoning should work on them while we're awaiting feedback from the town attorney, and then hopefully be in a position to vote on them for recommendation at our December 4th planning and zoning meeting. Otherwise, we might have to have a special meeting later in December. So we do have one more work session before then, but we might be that we need another work session to get here, but anyway, I'd welcome folks' thoughts on like what you've heard so far in public comment, what we might want to be thinking about with the RV ordinance. Go ahead, Marcia.
Well, no, I think we did hear some input for the RV ordinance, and as is usual, there were a couple of items that someone would catch that we missed or things like that, and we always appreciate going, what? We didn't say RV park, or, you know, so there was definitely some information in there. And for those, I think most of us actually did read through it, and 2 things. One, I appreciate the fact that you cleaned it up so we could read what we had. And some of the comments we put in there are things that now we're going to need to just go through. And if your plan is to say, when do you want to do that, then maybe we just need to do exactly what you said, get this all in order for our work session, because the work session is when we sit and talk these things through. But I know I put a couple comments in, I see Gary did, I think you answered a couple of whatever.
Right,
So-
pretty well, I was in there. Didn't go bloop, that go.
So, yeah, I think this is great, and I think we're a heck of a lot closer. And the few questions that came forward, some of us put some answers in, some of us are still thinking, and whatever you want to suggest for timing.
Sorry, I keep looking at you all like you're part of the meeting.
Yeah. Don't look at us.
Well, is there anything we would like to go over tonight, or otherwise just make a plan, like so-and-so works on such and such, and then we meet at the next work session?
Well, bring it down a little to see if there was something that we were stuck on. Few of these are just some words. Like Gary put in home or homes or whatever, but a few of them were actual questions. So Malia and I went back and forth, or forth and back. Level 1 site plan, level 2 site plan, doesn't that reflect sort of the size of the application from our zoning code and I just got confused. I want to make sure that we're using the right terms. So if you would like to specifically look at these things tonight, there's one that I'd like to look at. If you want to just say, these are the things we're going to look at, then we can look at it next time.
I think I'll have us look at it next time, or maybe assign somebody particular to dive in.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time on it today.
Do you want to speak?
Yeah. And I asked a lot of questions just along the side, so it might make the most sense for you guys to just read it through, but I was kind of like jumping all over trying to figure out how we wanted to word certain things, because we have level 1 and level 2 site plan application in our definitions, but we don't use it anywhere until we get down to site plan. So I started including it in there, like in that portion of site plan, which is, I'll go down to it, but.
Yeah, because site plan didn't have it in there.
Right, it didn't have it in there, which
Okay.
we also, from reviewing
Yeah.
our zoning ordinance, just our regular, like the original, the only spot it is also in the definitions. And
Definitions.
it's just referenced, if you're doing a site plan, you need to know if you're level 1 or level 2. And so I was curious, that could be a question for the building department is, what are their thoughts on level 1 and level 2 site plans?
Yeah, sorry to interject. So I know that I don't know if it's a different terminology, but we know that site plans are like no longer coming to administrative staff or planning and zoning staff. The site plan or the document that is similar is going directly to planning and or directly to the building department. So we would want to see what they have, what they already have built out, and what specifications that they would have, or if they would be different for this versus a permanent structure built.
Yeah.
So if you would like, I will take on that one question and go to Kristen. And I will say, Kristen, can you please help us with site plan review in RV ordinance? Is that what we want to know?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll take that one.
this sounds like one of the questions might be, do we even need a division between 1 and 2? Could it just be a single
That's
site plan,
exactly
right?
where I wrote that. Yep, good.
Great.
Okay, Kristen. Oh, good.
I went through and removed quite a bit of the with valid permit because I realized that we have that in all of our commercial and agricultural spaces, which we don't need to have because the only place that you need a short-term rental is in a residential or somewhere that doesn't have a dwelling site allowed, or a dwelling allowed, which is A1 and residential. For A1, but then residential, we have in the short-term rental that you have to have it. And since A1 in our table says none, we don't
Need it.
doesn't apply, you can't have it.
Good catch.
So I just went through and did some of those things. So like I said earlier, it might make the most sense for you guys to go through and try to follow my thought process.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I did too.
With all of
when
my
I wrote them.
comments.
Yep. Okay,
Let's plan on doing that.
Yeah,
Then.
something to note that Aaron had mentioned with the ADA rule with the tables is our beautiful table A, but it is hard for screen readers to interpret. And then something that the training said is that they also shouldn't span over 1 page. And this one spans over like 2.5 pages,
the chart, you mean?
the chart, the table. So it is probably worth writing it out.
Could you do all the terms defined and then, and assign those a number or letter, and the chart would just have the number or letter for what you've assigned?
I don't know if I understand, but I'm happy to meet you over.
So the first few lines of above the chart, it would say, table A is what we allow, okay, and then we'd have RV, we'd have letters and colors and something, and then the chart would only reflect those letters and colors instead of all the wording. No, that's harder to,
That might be harder for. a
yeah,
screen
now
reader.
that's harder.
Yeah,
Ooh, this ADA thing.
I
is-
know,
Just
it's,
gonna
yeah,
find out.
something to continue thinking about. We don't have to.
Mhm.
You know
this
your
time.
chart, Malia.
No,
Uh-huh.
breaks my- trust me.
Brian, were you saying something that we lost?
Oh, no, just following along the drama of the charts and the ADA changes and the
Right.
loss of our amazing charts, but
One more thing I'll flag for folks to think about, is the public comment we've received from the Bears Ears Partnership.
Oh,
Who is
yeah.
wanting to do, RV parking for their volunteers, and they're still not, this ordinance, I guess, is not clear enough to them whether or not they qualify as an RV park, and so we should think about, based on the purposes of this ordinance, if they should qualify as an RV park or not. One of the things to consider, therefore, is under item or definition 15,
Yep.
recreation park. I did add that work exchange.
I thought that was in there at some point. That's because
It's
because I
amazing
remember
how often we
thinking,
Talk about things and then
Yeah.
forget to put it in.
well, because I remember thinking that the BEP needed it, and therefore I thought that was in there, but that was a good, I think that's a good way to say it.
Okay.
So, because yeah, she had called me and I said, come to the meeting so that we can answer you.
Right.
Because I think based on our intention in drafting this ordinance, our intention was not to regulate RV parks when there's an exchange of money. Our thought was to regulate the proliferation of RVs on lots without like adequate safety and health measures. And so whether or not there's a money exchange, I think is not necessarily relevant to our purpose, so.
Yep. No, I like it.
Mhm. Okay,
Thanks for adding that.
is that good enough for now this evening?
Yeah.
Okay, great, I'll read that and then review that at the next work session.
Okay, and I'll get a Kristen answer. If she gives me information that's complicated to think about it, I'll send it out as an email to us before the work session. If she just says, take it out, I'll just tell you at the work session. Let's see what she wants to do.
Yeah, on that note, I'm also curious how, because that's gonna probably also apply to our just general zoning ordinance.
The
Because it's in there
yeah.
too.
Good point.
So as we are going through and making all of these things ADA and removing LUC, it might be an easy fix to also
Yep,
update our site plan and what the building department wants.
good, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to item 5, update and discussion of general plan amendments, should say including the future land use map. So I thought we'll update you on the general plan amendments work and then see if we have any suggestions for Aaron and the town. So basically, because planning and zoning has a lot of ordinances to work on in a short amount of time, I think Aaron Nelson, town manager, and the town are gonna focus on integrating changes and suggestions based on the public hearing, and so the town is going to work on getting us the latest draft to review by November 20th, so we'll have that at our next planning and zoning meeting to review. Aaron is working on updating the future land use map, and so I know she's gonna add the sole source aquifer idea as a across the whole map. And then we will ideally vote to recommend the general plan amendments at the December 4th meeting if that's how we feel. So does anybody want to flag any items right now that make sure the town addresses them?
Can you go further down? I don't think
I'm currently on page 31 of 53, and so far you guys have done some amazing
yeah,
work.
I know.
Oh
But
my
I
goodness.
can't remember if I put any comments, but I know I was reading through, so I guess we'll find them if we find them. Yeah, that's good. Well,
I think we've only received public comments from 1 or 2 people on these.
right. It's hard. I think general plans are so overreaching, not overreaching, are so compelling. They reach so much.
Encompassing.
Excellent, good catch. That they're so encompassing that you can only be familiar with a few things of it. Like you might know the housing, or you might know transportation, or things like that. So I don't think, but for those of us who have to know it,
Right.
there's a lot. Yeah. Thank you for putting it this way so we can check.
Yeah.
Brian, anything you would add or?
Nope, not on this one.
So, oh no, you're good. Something to note, public comment deadline is actually tomorrow, so for
Okay.
the public that's listening, you still have time.
Okay. Great, we'll move on to item 6, which is discussion of the sign code update. So thank you, folks. I know you addressed this while I was on the river. To me, I think it's best if this is tabled till 2026 because we're trying to edit a bunch of ordinances right now and get them passed by the end of the year. Because we would. So, I mean, yeah, but I'm open to other ideas. People want to keep working on it.
Could we just say tabled without a date? And that way, should we get to it
Sure.
sooner, we do. But, like at our work session at the end of December, perhaps it might come up or something. But, because I do agree that's not the one that it needs corrections, and we found some and we commented, but it's not the most important. But,
And y'all were looking at temporary signs, right? Temporary.
Yes, that was added.
right, there were two issues that were mainly focused was sizing, because we all got messed up on what the size of sign is. And temporary signs was brought to me by a council, or anyway, it was brought to me as an issue of, someone asked about a temporary sign and we went, oh yeah, what is, so.
Yeah. We defined it, but didn't actually have anything
There-
written about it within the ordinance.
So there's a couple things. I move for the sign ordinance to be tabled until a reasonable time to have time to address the issue.
Second. Second from Leah. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. We'll table sign code updates for now. Okay, now we'll move on to new business. Item 7 is land use clearance approval, and we have none.
And never will again.
Okay, so I think we're ready to move on to item 8, which is interviewing our very patient applicants who have applied to planning and zonings.
Hey, they have to listen to this, you know, they have to be ready.
Practice. So we'll start with Ann Brown. So if you want to come sit where Ms. Bell's sitting. And we have some.
Because I've done this before and I know the agenda.
Did you assign our names to questions? Because I didn't see
Yes.
the first time.
Awesome. I'll stop sharing, it's all yours.
No. Perfect.
And you want to introduce yourself first?
Hi, I'm Ann Brown. I live at 34 South Mesa View Lane. A signless street in town.
Is that how you prefer it?
That would be how.
Well, our first question is, please tell us why you are qualified for the planning and zoning commission.
I've lived in Bluff for now 4 years, living in a house we built now almost 3 years ago. And this is the third very small town I've lived in. And in the previous 2 towns, very small, similar population, we did not have planning and zoning because we had no commercial, we had very little property tax, et cetera, et cetera. And I just think it's very important to have plans and ordinances, and without it, havoc could fall. So.
Great, thank you. What are 1 to 3 issues you would work to address if you were on the planning and zoning commission?
I would really like to see the eventuality of town solar. And I don't know how that's achievable, but that is definitely a major goal I would like to see. I'd also like to see consistency of regulation somehow when we have I've read through a lot of the ordinances that exist, and it just seems like that's a toughie. I know it was a toughie last year, and I'm sure it's been that way for a long time, but that concerns me. I mean, I think it's great now that we have Kristen on building. That makes a ton of, I would think, making it easier, but I just think it's kind of inconsistent across the board.
Thank you.
Okay, great. What town values are important to you that planning and zoning commission work to protect?
I am a firm believer in planned growth. Probably because of the other 2 towns I've lived in, that did not have any plans. And in the, let's say 30 years I've been coming to Bluff, I've seen very little change, but except where I live and where Gary lives. And I feel very strongly that the town is going to have some positive growth, and I think it's important that we have plans that have us coming along in that.
Thank you. Can you tell us of a time in your professional past that you've helped to resolve a conflict in a work or professional environment?
Yes, I was in the art field for 50 years. And, which makes me as old as Marcia. And
Hey, now.
we have the same birthday. But I think in the last 12 or 13 years, when I managed 2 magazines, we were going through that process of having always been in print, and out of the 125 or so employees that I worked with, there was now, especially in the last 3 or 4 years, far more people working on the digital end of the business. And there was a lot of conflict between people who were old school, always been in the print business. And obviously, I'm gonna say they were a little older than the people that we hired to do the digital end of things. And I had to do a lot of listening to both sides, although I knew the print side much better, it was ingrained in me, but I had to learn to understand what the folks that were working on the digital end were trying to achieve. And in an unknown area to me, for the most part, and then take that back to the people who were on the print end, because the content came from the print end. And it had to be changed. I'm listening to this ADA thing. going,
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay, that's complicated. But I think the most important part is listening to both sides and being able to mediate between the two, which is no different than what happens here.
And this is a voluntary position that requires 1 4 hours a week of your volunteer time. Can you meet that commitment?
Yes. That was the.
It's a lot more than 4 hours.
Yeah, everything is.
All right, Perry does an easy, short one. This position requires checking email regularly and working in Google Docs and Microsoft Word on a weekly basis. Can you tell us about a project you have completed on a computer?
Why, yes, working with my wife who patiently got me to work with Google Doc. And because I hadn't worked with it in a few years, and it made our lives so much more streamlined. I hope she feels the same way.
I think she did.
Are you a bona fide resident of Bluff, meaning it is your principal place of residence?
Yes. Another good one.
Another good one. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, Andrew. Have any questions for us?
Just one. Are we able to see the general plan that was up on the screen? Or I mean, as
The public.
as a public person?
Yeah, that is on the town website.
Okay, great.
That draft, yeah.
Okay. Only one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anne.
We now welcome Caitlin McClellan to the stage.
Thank you. Well, I just texted you with the
Speaking of digital.
Speaking of digital, it's been my lifetime. Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Yeah, would you like to introduce yourself first?
I'm Caitlin McLennan. I was gonna go into my work intro, but resident of Bluff, what is our address? 401 South 500 West, I think, unknown. It's me.
You could make any address
You
up.
call
quite
somebody
quickly.
about
I'm
that.
not sure.
Oh, no, it's like
Oh.
I thought it was hilarious.
401,
Yeah, 401, not found. I thought it was really funny, and he might appreciate it.
that is funny.
Yeah. I didn't think anyone else would appreciate it, but like maybe a young person. Maybe it's not appreciated. I thought it was funny.
I also think it's funny now that I know the context.
There you go. If you wanna change it, you can, talk to me.
Excited.
Well, Caitlin, would you please tell us why you're qualified for planning and zoning?
I feel like I'm qualified in many ways. I got my master's in environmental policy and planning and urban planning at Tufts University in 2021. And I wrote my thesis on agrivoltaics and the intricacy of trying to zone and plan for urban systems and rural environments and how to understand what the social and economic and political context is there, right? So I have a lot of like technical knowledge that, albeit is very rusty at this point because I'm a community organizer these days from 9 to 5, that I feel like can really benefit Bluff planning and zoning, especially as Anne said, we grow beneficially, right? Hopefully in the way that we control and we decide.
Thank you. What are 1 to 3 issues that you would work to address if you were on the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Oh, well, I'm so excited that there's a renewable energy ordinance to review forthcoming. Because I think that is, you know, definitely a gap that you guys obviously saw and fixed and are working on actively. I even asked Amanda if there were like agrivoltaic ordinances with multiple use infrastructure, and y'all are on it. So I think a lot of what I'd like to do on planning and zoning is learn more about town and what town thinks and how we want to develop together, right? It's no secret I'm new to Bluff. I want to say it's been my 6-month anniversary already, but I'd have to count on a calendar. And I think listening to town and understanding what our already defined priorities are is going to be huge for me. And then of course, you know, we need more housing, but like, how do we do that correctly will be a big priority as well.
Yeah, spoken like a true community organizer.
Amazing. All right, what town values are important to you that the Planning and Zoning Commission work to protect?
Great question, Brian. I think recently I was invited by Daleen to go on a 13-mile trail ride, which wounded my body deeply. But I think it also opened up my eyes to how disconnected some of town is with like the diverse culture we have in town, right? Like indigenous history, right? And all of that good stuff. And figuring out how to integrate the population more, I think is a huge value that I saw in the general plan and is something that is important to me is diversity and inclusion and how we make town a place for everybody that's around us in the county. Seems great. I think also like the historical preservation of town, ensuring that all of the arc sites, right, and like everything else that is included in town's history is maintained if there is any growth is extraordinarily important. One of my favorite towns in Idaho created an entire like national historic designation over all of town, Kellogg. And it was because of a highway coming into towns. They figured out a way to like use planning and zoning to ensure that the like cultural and historical integrity of where they lived was preserved. So big value.
Very cool. Thank you for that answer.
Yeah, thank you. And my question, because my name's on it, is for you to explain sometime when you've had to resolve a conflict in your work or professional environment.
Oh, Marcia, it's all I do. I was thinking about this question before I came up here, and I feel like a lot of the conflict I resolve in professional environments is in groups, right? And so I try and find like the right facilitation strategy to get people to talk to each other. If that's asking them the right question and having a more casual conversation, right? That's a tactic I definitely use if I know there's going to be tension between people. But sometimes, especially in the work I do every day, we want to inject that tension and we want to use it to drive a conversation. And so I think in my experience about like, how do we resolve conflict, right? How do we negotiate effectively? It's all about asking the right questions, giving people the right information, right? Making sure they feel prepared, and then also helping to steward that conversation.
I think a specific time is probably when my boss has told me to do something I don't think is right for wherever we're working. He lives in New York City, for people who don't know, and is so well versed in like rural organizing. It's incredible, but also doesn't always get the like cultural context. And I'm always very direct with him, I guess, is probably part of the story. That's not a specific example, but yeah.
Thank you.
Caitlin, this is a voluntary position that requires 1 4-hour
Oh, no.
a week of your volunteer time. Can you meet that commitment?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like the easy one.
Yeah.
Great. This position requires checking email regularly and
Oh,
working
no.
in Google Documents and Microsoft Word on a weekly
no.
basis. Can you tell us rather, sorry, about a project you have completed on a computer?
All
Sorry.
day on my computer.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm like, are we sold on Microsoft Office Suite? Can we talk about Google Drive?
We cannot.
Oh,
That
controversial.
makes sense. That makes sense. Authenticator, it's way more secure.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We switched from Google Drive to.
Oh, no.
Talk to the state, they me.
I will take that. She will. Many, many projects. I love a slide deck. Yes.
Are you a bona fide resident of Bluff, meaning it is your principal place of residence?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
looped in. I almost emptied out my whole storage unit, you guys. I am new though, and I want to address that. I know that that's like not an elephant in the room, but I am a new person in Bluff, but I am very committed to being in this town and contributing to town. That's why I'm here, is I wanted to get information myself and like become a part of town in my own right too, even though I know Drew is a superstar.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you have any questions for us?
Do we meet weekly?
It's, the schedule's always open to change at the beginning of the year, but typically it's one regular meeting a month and one work session a month, so twice.
Excellent.
First and third Thursday is where we are at the moment, and we take a vote at the beginning of the year to see if that matches everybody's schedule well or not.
Perfect. We should start eating dinner.
We'd have to open it up to the public.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Great, any other question?
That's it.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, both candidates.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brad.
That's great.
And, okay, we will now do the awkward piece of item 8, which is, a vote which candidates to recommend to town council. So typically we go like one by one and say who we would recommend, and then we can bring a vote up. Or how do we do it?
I think that we've just opened it for discussion if anyone had any comments and stuff, and then someone can make a motion to do one and then do the other or something, I
Yeah.
think is probably the easiest. Unfortunately, a few times, like, I don't think it should be both people at once. I
Yeah, it
think
should be
it should,
separate, yeah.
it should be separate
Yeah.
people, so to open the discussion, if it's okay with you, I would say we have two excellent candidates in that one brings the experience of a lifetime, one brings the newer background of how things are happening in the world today, and I think that would be both of those attributes would complement the group we have and what we're doing. Us old folks, because, as most of my friends here in the room know, I rely on the skills of the contemporary world to fall on my friends, and I hope they rely on some of my past knowledge to bring to the table. So I think we're looking at that here with the two applicants we have.
Thank you, Marcia.
I would echo that. And I think Anne said something that can be compared to this is that we've got the print world and the digital world. You know, we've got the life experience, they call it the new, And I think that both would be a bonus to the planning zone.
Maria, do you want to add anything?
Beautiful, well done. I really appreciate both of you applying, putting your names in the hat. I'm curious if I'm able to ask the applicants a question or how we'd approach this, because we have a 1-year term and then a 3-year term. Do we need
Oh, yeah.
to, or completion, do we need to ask the applicants which they would prefer?
I
Or is that up
think
to us?
Anne said the 1-year term in her letter
I may have, yes. That was yesterday.
in an email. And I'm not saying yes or no, I'm just saying, I think one of them came through like that. Erin, did you, where is it? It's in our emails, isn't it? That.
Well, I don't think it'd be inappropriate to ask them which one they prefer.
Yeah.
You know, just ask them which one they prefer. I think that's
But that is
an
a good
extra
point.
question on the
Bonus
bottom.
extra. That was maybe the hardest question of all.
Right.
And we skip, it's just rock, paper, scissors.
Right.
Anne's email says 3-year vacancy.
Oh, it does say 3 on Anne,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
We're good either way. We're collaborative, we're flexible.
They're solving a problem right there in
Look at
them.
Shall we split it?
Well, obviously, you'd be up for renewal should you so decide, but we have to, you're right, that was a good catch on their 2 terms we're filling. Brian, did you have a comment or do you wanna?
No, I'm just so grateful that there's 2 highly qualified, and I would echo the same things you said about having 2 kind of diverse candidates come with different approaches, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I echo everything everybody has shared. I think the values that were shared tonight and the ideas of what they would like to work on are very much aligned with the general plan and what we have been talking about with enforcement and uniformity in how regulations are drafted, enforced, et cetera, with inclusivity and affordable housing. And both had an interest in solar, which is aligned with our renewable energy ordinance, so very excited about both candidates.
I would make a motion to appoint Anne Brown to a 3-year vacancy for the Planning and Zoning Commission of Bluff beginning in January 2026.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is to pass along to town council who takes it
Yeah.
and approves,
Yeah.
right? Okay, good.
Yeah. Is the discussion point, I think it's, since Anne did actively put that she was applying for the 3-year vacancy, I think that's a good.
That's where I got that.
So. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, call the motion to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hey,
Bye.
Motion passes unanimously to recommend Anne Brown for the 3-year vacancy on planning and zoning. Okay, do we have a second motion?
You did so great the first time.
I would move to appoint Caitlin, don't tell me your last name, I know this.
that's why I didn't do it.
Oh, McClellan,
McLennan.
excuse me. Forgive me, I knew there was a MC in there, but, excuse me. Caitlin McLennan for filling the 1-year vacancy on Bluff Planning and Zoning beginning in January 2026.
That's seconded.
Second, Barry, okay. Any discussion?
I think it's so exciting that we are interviewing people that are not gonna start for a little bit, because this is the first time that's happened since I've been on the zoning. Usually it's like, we need someone. So thank you guys for putting your application in. You have like 2 months to read through general plans and ordinances. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Bye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. So thank you so much, applicants. We will forward our recommendations on to town council. and they will address that at their future meetings.
But you keep me, you got, no.
No, I have a question. So there's a work session yet this month,
Correct?
and is that something, I know that's just the committee.
Well, you can be there. All our meetings are public by law. So you can sit there, we just won't talk to you. We can point.
Zoom in or whatever.
Yes.
But yes, okay.
We can point and go, let's leave that for Ann or Kate. We can do things like that, but.
Yeah, our work sessions are truly work sessions, so we don't interact with the public or take public comment.
Right.
Any other questions, friends?
Nicely done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item 9, review of the Utah League of Cities and Town meeting by Malia Collins.
Hello. So I attended the Utah League of Cities and Towns Conference in early October, the first and second day of October, actually. And Aaron has hit on the ADA website recommendation or requirement, not a recommendation. That was one of the big things I pulled from it. The second day was actually all housing and the planning day. And so I enjoyed attending quite a few of those sessions. I attended a couple that were talking about trying to, trying to get some affordable housing. I attended some that were UDOT, some that talked about impact fees. I'd never heard of impact fees, and then realized it's probably not something we want to do, but now I kind of know what the words mean. And then housing authorities, which I thought that housing authorities might be something beneficial for us to look into. There is a Southeastern Utah Housing Authority that covers our region. I looked at their website and they have rentals in Moab and like some houses that are coming up for sale in Moab, but then also in San Juan County, Monticello and Blanding have some different things posted to it. So I thought it could be interesting to reach out to them and see if we have any sort of interlocal agreement or what types of things they can help us with. Because the housing authority, from my understanding, is a way to let the general public, general public know what we have available housing wise, and then also just help to connect the right people to each other. And so just a really interesting setup.
This is where we point to the new people and go, we'll assign it to them. And
We'll assign this to them. But then the last day, I attended the Conflict Competence 101 that was so good. It was a 9 to 3, and basically it was teaching people or giving people the language to resolve conflict and giving them what is the difference between an interest and a position or a need and a concern. And I thought and they actually are going to be providing this training in January. If anybody is interested, it's, I believe, going to be sponsored through the Utah League of Cities and Towns. And it's a virtual training that you can attend. But my praise for it is if we had multiple town administrative commission council people attend this, it would provide us with a common language that we could work on conflict together. Some of the words that they used that I really appreciated was like reframing something. So I see this as you see this as an issue. We're going to turn this into a problem-opportunity. Okay, there's cool parts of it.
With letters.
Did I convince anybody? Wow. That's one of the notes I took, but.
The chuckle.
But she had a couple of really good exercises, just the woman that did the presentation, she had it really well organized, that time flew by quickly. There were exercises that you could figure out a little bit more of what your listening skills and what your communication styles are, and then working through on collaborating and some different conflict options. So 10 stars, would recommend.
Good.
Also, the conference itself, really helpful, some really great networking. I met quite a few people from many different cities, of course, and they were like, let me know if you need help. I was like, careful.
Can you come in my car? And
Yeah, I was like, what are you? Oh, great. You're a city manager. I'd love to chat with you. Oh, you're a city attorney? Just you.
Do you need a job?
Right. Do you answer emails? So it was really great. I would recommend it for anyone that hasn't attended. It was a nice way to settle into both administrative role as well as planning and zoning role that I have.
Thank you so much for attending,
Mhm.
especially on your birthday.
Oh, no. Did they have cake for you?
They had
I
like
went out to
6
dinner.
birthday dinners.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can put the conflict training on our future agendas. That's a great idea to discuss people going to that. Lifelong skill.
Lifelong.
Okay, let's move on to item 10, which is items for our next agenda, which is a work session. So far, I have reviewing the RV ordinance, the renewable energy ordinance, general plan. And I think we could start discussing potential meeting dates for 2026 and then run them by future commissioners, but those need to be posted typically in December, I believe. So
Right about that. Yep.
anything else you'd like to see on that work session?
That may be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we'll move on to item other 11. I know, why don't we at least discuss the renewable energy ordinance next steps?
I think, if I may, this was the same kind of thing where we did take some comments and ideas. I appreciate that it's been cleaned up a little. Malia did some. I think we put in our, we put in our time on this, and now we just need to put in what we say. We've talked this through a lot, I think, to have to hone it. And we are probably missing something that may not haunt us, but may challenge us in the future, because so much changes so quickly within these guidelines. But as Caitlin did note, we tried to use as many words that are current, agrivoltaics, other things that we say we want to be covered for this. So I don't know, I don't remember if I put anything comment wise, but I think we should be ready to answer most of this by the time we're at the work session.
I think so too. Thanks, Marcia. So yeah, folks want to spend time reviewing it. The one piece I started integrating as I emailed folks that I just done some work on it. Josh Ewing brought up the fact that Utah is the only state in the country, which is cool, that allows the balcony solar, which is I think it's under a
Portable solar generation
portable
device.
solar generation device, where I added that. We need to see how we want to incorporate that into this ordinance and how we want to comply with Utah code. And I think the question I still have is if we can exempt that from a solar permit or a building permit or not. I think that was Utah's intention, but it's, I don't know, we have to do a little more research. So I just waiting to fly. Oh, yeah. Just waiting to fly somewhere. If there's anything else I would. Something else I would, so wonderful. If there's nothing else folks want to flag, okay, go ahead.
So I also spent some time on this one today. So I was working on making this, a couple of things, working on making this ADA compliant. And so one of the things you can see where I have our headings pulled up on the side, this is one of the things that a screen reader, thank you, that helps the screen reader navigate a document. So as we're going through ordinances, I'll start just doing this, and it's basically just using the heading section of Microsoft Word, which usually I just bold things, but you can actually make headings and then it makes it easier to go through. So You'll notice some differences just in formatting, and I've been kind of playing with it on this one as well as the RV. But something I want you guys to think about that was rolling around in my brain today is this comment here. So based on the rest of the ordinance, we want to ensure that projects come through us that aren't permitted by right. And so to know if the conditional use process needs to be pursued. Therefore, I know this is kind of something we talked about at the beginning and then removed it, but do we need it to add like an application to planning and zoning between the site plan and the building permit or before any of it? Because what we are trying to do as a planning and zoning commission is activate that conditional use process. And at what point do we want to do that? We don't want them to have a building permit because then that means go dig. So
Maybe
how do we
it's
want that? to
from
look?
the building permit telling us to look at. So, I mean, building department. So if building department gets an application for a solar something and goes, what? Wait a minute, that's not.
That's a
you know,
level one.
That's a level one, but it's in commercial, but it's over 20 feet. It's, look, it's a C in the thing. That's when they send it to us for the conditions. In other words, the chart sends it to us.
Okay,
I think, I'm asking, I mean, I agree with you, there is a gap there,
yeah,
but the gap may be self-fulfilling.
yeah.
If someone walks into the building department and says, I have this, then the building department brings up our chart and says, oh, well, it's in, I don't know. it's
Table
in-
one permitted uses.
Yeah, it's in C, it's in
It's in
commercial and it's big, so it's prohibited. No, wait, it's in C, but it's best, so it's, so then they can go, up. There's a C. That means you have to go talk to planning and zoning at a meeting. And we get to look at it and go, oh, this is great. It fits, except we'd like a condition of, pick one, the fence, the flowers, whatever it was that caught us on that particular, so.
Yeah. Is that the question? I know that we're already at 7:12, but something to continue pondering, is that the most efficient way, or would we allow the person to set to the resident or whoever it is doing this project to come to us and say, I actually have a level 2 project, I'd like to come to planning and zoning first, or do we want them to hit building department first?
Question,
Because whatever it is, we should make sure that that's just clearly
I
written
agree.
in here.
first.
So that they know,
The
so that
order-
we know, so that they know, so the building knows, so that.
Amanda
everyone knows.
Amanda was like,
Sorry.
almost there. No, I'm just.
Is part of the question whether or not they receive the time, like a building permit before a site plan or vice versa?
Yeah, that's part of the question. Curious about the steps that we want to be taken, and since site plan is on the question for building department, that'll help to guide what the site plan, what that looks like. And maybe the site plan is what they bring to us, but basically, how are we triggering that conditional use process? Is it the building department sending them to us, or is it based on the project holder bringing it to planning and zoning just because they know that their project is in A3 and is a level 1 and requires a conditional use permit?
I think just the intention of the building department is for them to vet all applications now. And so like this here says building department maintains the authority to determine if an application is complete. So I think we will have to create an application form that says, do you need a building permit?
Mhm.
Yes, no. Do you need site plan? Yes, no. And that's gonna be submitted to the building department, who then comes to us. I think that's.
I do too. I think building department first. I think they go there. It's virtually like we've been talking LUC. Go there, show them what you got. And Kristen goes, well, nice plan. And on the chart, you're under conditional use. Set up your meeting with planning and so you come to our meeting and we find out if there are any conditions. Because there could well be none. You can go, hey, this really fits nicely.
Okay,
Um,
perfect. Sounds great. Thanks for thinking that through with me.
Wait, Gary's thinking.
No, I said I like that. That's good.
Can I ask him, am I allowed to ask him?
No, but.
Not, so yeah, sure.
I'm just wondering how do builders learn when something changes, like this is gonna change? How they communicate with the town? How do they become informed of the change when it does take place?
They, typically, we do everything, we post notices for ordinances in the stand on record and on our website, and then once something new is signed into law or regulation, then we put that on our town website as well, but the builder and applicant has to come to us with a project, so that typically they would come into the building department and learn what regulations would apply to them. This, we don't have a list of potential contractors that things are sent to.
Not that they're
Okay, so why don't, like the other ordinances, people spend some time on this for our work session. Feel free to, like, if you have put in a comment and work on it, feel free to resolve it. But we'll keep tracking changes for you.
Yeah, no, I do see, I put a couple, I knew I wasn't crazy that I put some things there, okay. Cool.
Okay, any other items under other this evening? One other.
Public comment deadline tomorrow
What comment?
at 12 or 5?
Five.
End of day.
Okay, then I think I will. entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Masha, okay. Meeting is adjourned at 7:17 PM this evening. Thank you so much, everybody.
Nicely done.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brian. Feel better.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good night.
Night.
See you later.
Is he said?